Learn more at high-electric.com.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. This is the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary hanging out with you guys. Rico, what's up?
Hello.
How we doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm fantastic. We're feeling good today.
I can't hear myself.
You need the little dial thing is all the way over there, so I'll let you slide on over. Do the Chris Collinsworth slide over, and we're all good to go. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Both those open for you guys the entire way here. Can you hear yourself?
I think, yep, now I can.
All right, good.
Very strange.
That's all right. We got it all figured out. Sip broke the microphone. Not broke the microphone. It did its thing where it came or off this little
Unscrewed?
unscrewed. Thank you.
Off the spinny spin.
Off the spinny thing. And so you had to hold it the entire middle segment of the 7 o'clock hour.
That dude
and I said, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'll just hold it. I'm okay with holding it." So he's sitting there with his elbow laying or resting on the desk, just holding the microphone,
like a cool guy.
Yeah, I suppose so. Like I said, 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all those avenues for you guys to incorporate your thoughts. We got a full show ahead. A lot of stuff going on. We're going to give our thoughts once again on the college football playoff championship game last night.
Can I say something about that? Because I keep seeing this, and I never actually
one
heard
second.
it, and I listened to it earlier. But you go
we'll preview.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So college football national title game. Then I want to talk about Husker hoops going on tonight. Mm-hmm. Husker football transfer portal targets as well, because it's going to be a busy afternoon/evening for Husker football fans. There's a couple guys that Nebraska fans should keep tabs on that are making decisions. And then also we have Steve Mark, our good friend of Inside Nebraska, the rival site for the Huskers, who covers football and men's basketball for the guys over at Rivals, will join us here in the second segment as well. So once again, want to hear your thoughts over the entire show. Feel free to give us a call, 402-464-5685. College football national championship game, 65-7. Georgia wins in a convincing fashion,
just dominating fashion. So I kept seeing Nolan Smith's post-game speech, rant, whatever, to Maria Martin.
Yeah,
and he said, "This is a quote from him. They thought we were going to go 7-5. We end up perfect. I can talk trash now because I'm done. I'm a dog for life, and I will always be a dog." I don't think anybody anywhere thought Georgia was going to go 7-5.
Yeah, I'm curious. So I saw that as well, and I'm curious to see.
Now, I don't know how many people picked them to repeat.
No, I'll tell you this right now.
But I can't think of a single person who thought Georgia was going to go more than 2 losses.
I was going to say fewer than 10 wins. I think that's safe. I think there was a lot of belief at the beginning of the season that out of the SEC, one team would prevail, and it's either going to be Georgia or Alabama.
It was those two.
In all honesty, I'm not sure people saw Tennessee being as active in the top 5 as they were, right? Because we had potentially the game of the year between Alabama and Tennessee going on, and that was what really put Tennessee on the map. Mm-hmm. And then you had Georgia blowing out LSU in the SEC title game, and Georgia ended up being the team out of the SEC to represent in the college football playoff. In the 2022 preseason AP Top 25 poll, do you know where Georgia was at, Rico?
Second.
Third. And they had 3 first-place votes.
Yeah, that's not 7-5.
A 7-5 team does not get 3 first-place votes and is not ranked third in the preseason AP poll.
I don't know where Nolan Smith was getting his news from, but it surely wasn't a reputable source.
Nebraska got, just a reminder, Nebraska got one.
It's unnecessary.
One receiving vote for the top 25 poll behind Utah State. Utah State was bad this year.
They were very bad.
Their offense, unfortunately, Utah State could not move the football. Interesting. So it's crazy to think about how schools panned out in this AP preseason AP poll. Tennessee was not in the initial AP poll.
Really?
Texas wasn't. Penn State was not.
Texas got into the AP poll after losing to Alabama. Remember?
That shows. Well, you have to ask yourself: does Texas beat Alabama if Quinn Ewers doesn't get the collarbone injury?
Probably, but still,
they shouldn't have gotten in.
You moved up after a loss.
Well, yeah. So that's insane to think about. Penn State, who ended up winning the Rose Bowl, was not ranked in the top 25.
Great. It was like, the thing is, that's a great season for them, going unranked and winning the Rose Bowl. But also at the same time, for Penn State, it's still not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Kansas State was not ranked in the initial AP poll. They only had 14 receiving votes. Let's see. Is there anybody else? Auburn was.
Kansas State had
close.
a top 5 Heisman candidate for about 6 weeks.
And it's not named Deuce Vaughn.
Nope.
I really like Deuce. Deuce Vaughn, I'm going to miss seeing Deuce Vaughn in the college game.
Me and him are the same.
Same size.
I am Deuce Vaughn.
You are Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn is not Rico, though.
No, Deuce Vaughn is not Rico, but I am Deuce Vaughn.
Rico is Deuce Vaughn.
I could have been Deuce Vaughn.
I suppose so.
If I would have played running back in high school, I would have been Deuce Vaughn.
I'm not sure you would. You're built like Deuce Vaughn.
I mean, think Deuce Vaughn was built like Deuce Vaughn in high school.
Your measurables, I'm sure, are similar to
if
where
I worked out
your
like,
weights and obviously, if I was a running
back and I worked out like Deuce Vaughn, I'd look like Deuce Vaughn.
I hope. I maybe.
I need to look up Deuce Vaughn's track times because I'm sure he ran track. I need to see how fast he was to see if we're comparable.
We could look this up here.
Because my high school, you know what's funny?
What
my
if
high
he
school coach
ended up
after the season
or running hurdles?
He didn't. My high school coach after the season told me, if you wanted to play running back, you would have started. And I was like, I didn't say that I didn't want to play running back. I just wanted to get on the field.
So what do you think your 40 time would have been back in the day?
4.5, 4.6.
Deuce Vaughn's got you beat.
I don't know.
4.43.
I feel like I could have done that.
Deuce Vaughn 4.43.
Okay, but that's not a track time. That's a 40.
It's not, but it's if you want to play running back, if you want to be Deuce Vaughn,
I never ran a 40.
Well,
I ran a handheld 40 and it was a 4.4.
It's really too bad because now we sit here however many years later, 10 years later, and we can't compare. Rightfully so. Yeah, that's a bummer. I tried to look up Deuce Vaughn track and nothing.
Christopher Vaughn.
Nice.
Round Rock Cedar Ridge High School. Don't know if that's actually where he went. But if this is him,
here we can look up Deuce Vaughn real quick. I feel like this is somewhat important
what class was he? This is the 2020, his senior year.
24/7. He was in the class of 2020.
Okay. Then I am faster than Deuce Vaughn.
No, Rico, you're not going to do this.
He ran an 11.2 in the 100.
And what did you run?
In high school?
Yeah.
11 flat.
Okay. So you're 200th of a second quicker.
That's a
big gap. Yeah, I understand. I wasn't trying to diminish it.
I'm faster than Deuce Vaughn.
I wasn't trying to diminish it. Okay, make sure you use the right context. You were faster than Deuce Vaughn.
I'm faster than Deuce Vaughn.
In your senior year of high school.
He only jumped 20 feet 5 inches. That's his farthest.
And what was your farthest?
In high school?
Yes. Whatever we're comparing.
21 feet.
Okay. Nice job, Rico. So
I am Deuce Vaughn.
You are Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn, coming out of high school in Round Rock, Texas, Cedar Ridge High School, in 2020, he was 5'6", 166. And listen to this. We talk about evaluation on the recruiting trail. He was the 160th best player in Texas and the 1,235th best player in the country coming out of high school. And so I guess if you were listening to Early Break this morning, Sip and I were talking about evaluation and recruiting, whether it's down in Texas, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, Rico, on this show, to where the 3-star, the guy that's under recruited down in Texas, could possibly be a better fit, a better football player, a more polished football player than a higher 3-star or higher rated guy in some other state.
Yes.
That maybe the high school football landscape isn't as deep. That could be the case for Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn's going to be he's going to be an NFL draft pick kind of guy. I think Deuce Vaughn.
When does he get picked? Because running backs have not been picked in the first round a lot lately, especially a running back as small as he is. He's supremely talented. But if you're comparing him to the likes of a Jameer Gibbs, he's smaller. And you're going to take a lot of big hits.
Does this trying to find a comp because the articles are coming out now. Obviously, this is before guys' pro days and everything like that, which pro days are pretty scripted.
Mm-hmm.
So personally, I take pro days with a grain of salt because Zach Wilson, his pro day was a big reason he was the number 2 overall pick. He had that one throw that was across his body down the center of the field that basically allowed him to be drafted 2nd overall.
Yep.
Okay, I'm trying to find a comp here. Oh, for the NFL. I'm struggling to find it. We might not have it quite yet. So either way, I would NFL draft profile Deuce Vaughn. All right. One-liner, explosive playmaker with elite top-end speed and wiggle to make any defender miss a tackle.
4th or 5th round. That's my guess.
I would go there as well. Oh, grade. And this comes from the NFL at Sports Illustrated.
Okay.
Round 2nd to 3rd round.
Oh.
Evaluation, it says this could be quietly the most explosive player in college football and has all the tools you want to see. Elite breakaway speed, extremely agile with the shiftiness to make anyone miss. He is a very small running back, but it doesn't prevent him from dominating a football game.
Mm-hmm.
He's a patient runner with phenomenal field vision and can turn a loss of yards into a 5-yard gain, and the defense can't stop it from happening. He is a smooth and clean route runner with very good hands. He understands how to get open and be a great outlet for his quarterback. On the downside, his size makes him a little bit of a liability in pass protection. He has an outstanding work ethic, and no matter the score, he's giving everything he has. So obviously there's more there. Though he is a powerful runner, he doesn't have great strength and can be overwhelmed easily. He's almost a carbon copy of former NFL and Kansas State running back Darren Sproles.
That was somebody in the text I mentioned that I thought that as well. I don't think he's as strong as Darren Sproles was. If you go back and look at lifting videos of Darren Sproles, even when he was at K-State, I think he was squatting like six plates.
Yeah.
Which is just ridiculous.
Here's what's crazy, and this is kind of jarring. He is 6 months younger than I am. Little jarring. I'm not going to lie to you. Christopher Deuce Vaughn. So there's that for you. All right, so let's get to the AJ says 3rd round by the Patriots or Raiders.
If
you would
Deuce
like him
Vaughn
on the
goes to
Patriots,
I am immediately buying a Deuce Vaughn jersey.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Deuce Vaughn.
I need a Matthew Slater jersey because that one will never go out of style.
I need to. So
the special team specialist.
Now that we've gotten to the offseason, jerseys will start to go on sale on like Fanatics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I need to decide which Detroit Lions jersey because now I can't
get a Monra.
I can't just not have them as my team.
Get
as my team that I'm cheering for.
That's your boy.
I'll probably get an Amon-Ra. Maybe Jamal Williams.
Me and Jamal Williams both like anime. It's great.
Jamal Williams would be a good one. Amon-Ra. I also would like Jameson Williams. That'd be a fun one.
Why don't you get a Jared Goff since you love him so much?
Because he's not going to probably be there.
What if he is?
Hey, then we'll happily take another 4,400 plus passing yard season with less than 7 interceptions.
If he resigns, will you get a Jared Goff jersey?
Man, it depends how long he resigns for. I learned my lesson with the whole Javier Baez and the Cubs deal. I chose my heart over like the smart because I knew Javier Baez was one of my favorite players growing up in his early years with the Cubs. However, if I was smart at that time, I wouldn't have bought a Javier Baez jersey because understanding the business, knowing he would have gotten traded,
I got a Javier Baez Team Puerto Rico jersey.
which that will never not work.
It's great.
That will never not be valid.
I love it.
So I don't know. I like Dansby Swanson. I'll probably end up getting the Dansby Swanson Cubs jersey. They made the long-time commitment to him.
I love Dansby Swanson.
Dansby Swanson, 7 years, 117
I
mil.
hate that he plays for your team now.
We love Dansby Swanson. I always
This
love
is a pro Dansby show.
pro Dansby and pro Chicago Cubs show.
Not pro Chicago Cubs, just pro Dansby.
All right. Well, either way. So we'll see what happens. Either way. Okay, let's talk about the college football playoff real quick, because
it was disgusting.
It was disgusting, and I said that I want to get your thoughts on this. There's a difference between a strong roster and a strong program.
Okay.
Do you understand where I'm kind of coming from this?
A little bit, yeah.
I think there was a lot of value, and maybe we kind of shortchanged this idea as well. The been there before factor.
Okay.
Because like I look at last night's game, and there were some conversations this morning, whether it was on the early break, Sip asked me, or the drive, AD and Raph talked about it, whether or not last night's game diminished what TCU did this season. And I personally don't think it did. However, people are going to remember this championship game.
What have you
the
done for me lately?
65-7
and the last
blowout
thing
loss.
you remember is TCU not being able to do a damn thing against Georgia.
Exactly.
But then there's also the point where, like you just said, that been there before factor. I was listening to Old School with Jay and DP on from 4 to 6. If you guys care to listen, it's a great show. And Jay was talking about, well, they were both talking about the difference in a national championship game as compared to every other game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything takes so much longer. The commercial breaks are longer. The warm up and then the break from after you warm up to when you actually get onto the field is longer. Just everything is different.
Mm-hmm.
And Georgia's done it before. They've done it 3 times in the last couple of years. TCU's nobody on that roster has ever done that.
I think it's
except for I think one person transferred from Georgia to TCU. So like one person's done it before, but everybody else, you're not used to that. You're used to, a regular game where you warm up, you go into the locker room, you come back out. And Jay was talking about how important the warm up is and how you actually need to go all out in the warm up to get yourself ready for what's about to happen. And because you're going to be waiting in the locker room for an extended period of time. And then during those commercial breaks, during those breaks on the field, stay warm, stay locked in, because it's going to take longer than it normally does with all of the sponsors that bought all these commercials, and they got to get their airtime and all this. So TCU, it could be that they weren't ready for the moment. It could be that they weren't fully prepared for everything that goes into playing in a national championship game from the preparation side of things. It could be that Georgia's just that much better, but there's so much more that goes into this than just the play on the field that maybe some people aren't taking into account. And I'm not taking anything away from Georgia and what they did to TCU, but there's a lot of other things that went into it. Maybe TCU scores, another 2 touchdowns, but still doesn't, win the game.
That's where I wonder. And I want to ask Jay. I might have to stick around till Jay gets here, because I'm curious his thoughts on this whole. I felt like it wasn't even a sense of like TCU wasn't prepared to play or didn't come out ready to play or wasn't juiced up for the moment. I looked at it as Georgia is just that good.
They really are.
That dominant across all 22 positions.
You got 4 and 5 stars everywhere. Your lowest recruited person on your offense or your defense, more than likely, I haven't looked at them actually, more than likely is your quarterback.
Yeah.
Who was a 2-star coming out of high school, walked on, went to a junior college, then got a scholarship back to his dream school.
It's just
that is the quote unquote worst player coming out of high school on your roster.
Which I guess, like, I look at this then.
And he's a Heisman finalist.
I look at this then and I think to myself, what is the scope and how long does it take for you to get to be a program like Ohio State, like Georgia, like Alabama, like Clemson? Because now we always talk about, is there a talent disparity or talent gap between the top 4 teams and the rest of the field? But now, over the last couple of years, whether it's been the blowouts in the semifinals or now last night's rout, is there a talent disparity, a noticeable talent disparity between the top 2 or 3 seeds and then the 4 seed that just squeaks in? Because if you think about the 4 seed has squeaked in every single year. It's been Cincinnati, Notre Dame, or now TCU. And I don't know if we know the answer to it.
I mean, Oklahoma's been a 3 seed multiple times and got blown out. Yeah, they make it closer in the fourth quarter.
But we've also seen it, and we've also, to your credit, or to your point, we've seen it where Ohio State as a 4 seed in the first ever CFP ended up
the whole thing,
winning the whole thing. But then we also saw it where Michigan State was a 4 seed, lost 55-0.
Didn't score a single point. Alabama doesn't win their conference championship, squeaks in off of a couple losses from other teams, wins the whole thing.
Yeah, so I don't know, and maybe I know TCU was not the 4 seed, TCU was the 3 seed. But maybe I misspoke, so I apologize. But maybe that's a conversation we have 2 or 3 years from now, where we don't have quite the expanded playoff, but there's a real talent discrepancy or difference in the 1 and 2 and 3 seeds, or the 1 and 2 seeds more than likely, than the 4 seed, and maybe expansion helps with that.
I mean, there's always been a talent discrepancy between the top teams. I mean, you just see those top 25 teams are usually also the top 25 teams when it comes to recruiting.
Yeah.
They're getting the best players, which is why they're playing the best. Now, it also helps that a lot of those teams have extremely good coaches and coaching staffs. But when you look back on it and you say, oh, Georgia has, 5 stars in this recruiting class, in their 2017 recruiting class, and I don't know that for a fact, I'm just picking a year. They have 5 stars in their 2017 recruiting class, and then 2 years down the line they win a national championship. Those guys are juniors now. They were the best players coming out, and they only got better with the strength and conditioning and the coaching that they got from that Georgia staff. Of course they're going to win a national championship. They had the most talented players coming into their school.
Well, we've heard former Nebraska coaches talk about how you need to have the players, and Georgia proved that last night. You need to have depth and you need to have the players. And if you are a team like TCU that maybe doesn't have it's hard to. And when I talk about program, I mean that type of depth in multiple positions, stars everywhere, both as the starter and as the backup. And a team like TCU that here in their first year, they're taking this giant leap to becoming this program that has national prominence. I wonder how much we will see that in the future. I don't know if transfer portal can balance it out. I'm not sure if NIL can balance it out. I think it's a learning curve for everybody.
Yeah, they got 30 new players coming in next year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. And also, I wonder how people feel about Sonny Dykes. I mean, Sonny Dykes' career prior to TCU wasn't all that glamorous. You have to remember, this is a guy that had a poor career at California, and then it was brought back at SMU. And so I just wonder, it's going to be, these are all questions that we won't be able to answer with 100% certainty until 2 or 3 years down the road. Let's get to break. When we come back, we got Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska to talk Husker Hoops versus Illinois tonight, coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric brings exciting career opportunities for you or someone you know. They are now hiring plumbers, electricians, and HVAC techs and installers to continually build their professional team. They offer competitive pay and full benefits packages that include health, dental, vision, PTO, and 401k options. Action has created a positive team environment for over 50 years. Apply online at actionlincoln.com.
The best way to learn about Southeast Community College is to visit. And you can check out our spaces before you visit in person with a virtual campus tour. An opportunity to see our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, and Milford as you learn about our programs and areas of study. There are virtual tours of our learning centers too. We can even take you on a personalized virtual tour. Learn more on our website, southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
Hi, this is Kurt, your shop manager at A1 Automotive here in downtown Lincoln. My promise to you is this: you won't find another automotive repair facility that genuinely cares about you and your vehicle. Our service is outstanding and our customer service is better. Please give me a call for all your automotive repair questions and needs. Call me at 402-477-4660. We were built on small town values, and that shows in how we treat others. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Why is Marvin Harrison Jr. so much better than Malachi Coleman? Harrison Jr. as a dad. Yes. To teach him the nuances of the receiving position. That's what catapulted him. The know-how to teach him little stuff. He is raw as they come. I would imagine that the coaching staff know he's raw, and there has to be certain things that they're going to have to teach him in order for him to become the All-American that I think he can become if he's taught.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Megan Whitaker from the Nebraska golf team. If you've put your clubs away for the winter, it's time to get them back out. There's no need to stop thanks to Double Eagle Golf. Double Eagle is home to Lincoln's best indoor golf simulators. It's perfect for every level of golfer, with everything from casual games for the kids to hyper-realistic simulations of some of the best courses in the world. And the best part, no matter what the weather's doing outside, it's always golf weather inside. See for yourself. Double Eagle Golf, just 5 minutes from downtown at the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street.
This message is for Karina, our mom who finished her high school diploma at age 28. Hi, Mom. It's Emmettith and Nicholas. Congratulations on getting your diploma. You worked so hard and have taught us so much. We love you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Partly sunny skies, mild temperatures expected again for our Tuesday, topping out at 53. Winds out of the south at around 10. We'll see an increase in cloud cover tonight with a low of 26. Mostly cloudy skies by tomorrow afternoon with a high of around 44 and a few showers possible by the evening. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
A new year means new goals and upgrading, but that doesn't only apply to health and fitness. Mullen Motors can get you into a new vehicle right now and get your 2023 started off the right way. They cleared off their 2022 inventory and have tons of new vehicles to choose from to make sure you get to where you need to be this year. Out with the old and in with the new. Stop by Mullen Motors today, just north of 48th and Lake.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary, sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the Happy Hour on a Tuesday. Husker Hoops hosts Illinois tonight, 8 p.m. tip-off. It's a little bit later. I mean, it's obviously later than the 6 p.m. tip-off that they had against Iowa. It was a sellout crowd against Iowa, but there might be a little more incentive for Husker fans to make their way out to PBA because Trev Alberts released that open letter yesterday saying that they're working on making the concession stands a little more fan-friendly.
They're trying. They'll open up some more concession stands. They'll have more stuff. They'll sell less alcohol at concession. Well, sell alcohol at
fewer
concession
concessions.
stands.
Yes.
And we'll see what happens.
I don't know.
But be careful. If you get the camera pointed at you, don't chug your beer. They'll take you off.
They'll take you off the camera. There's no chug cam at PBA.
Let's take you out of the building.
Let's go ahead and bring our good friend in, Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska. Steve, what's up, man? How's it going?
No chug cam at PBA, huh?
I want a chug cam. It would be glorious.
I guess I understand the reason why they're doing it, but come on, that's kind of lame, right?
I mean, I'm against, or not against. I'm for a chug cam. The reason we're so pro chug cam, I guess, on this show, we were sitting courtside for the Queens game, and
our former
co-host Nathan Brennan picked up his beer because he was on the camera on the jumbotron, started chugging it. But then, unfortunately, they quickly took him off the camera. He didn't realize it, finished his beer, looked up, nobody was clapping because he wasn't on the camera.
As soon as the beer touched his lips, they took him off.
Yeah, it was quick.
That's some tough luck for Nathan, but I'm sure you guys enjoyed it, and we're enjoying the scene there against Queens.
Hey, yeah, we were creating quite a social media stir about it as well.
Nick and Casey are best friends now.
Yeah, we are. He drilled a 3 for me. Either way, okay, Steve, 65-7 last night. Before we get into Husker hoops, did you see this coming at all?
No, I thought TCU was going to put up more of a fight. I thought just from watching them throughout the entire season, the heart that they played with, the no quit attitude that they had. I just thought that, I understand the star power that Georgia had everywhere on its roster and will continue to have everywhere on its roster. I know what it looked like against the underdog TCU, but I did not see 65-7 at all. I guess it kind of opened my eyes to maybe the kind of width that's between Georgia, like teams like Georgia and teams like TCU.
Now, Steve, with Sonny Dykes' success in year one, does that put pressure on other year one coaches? Not saying necessarily Matt Rule, but does that put pressure on other year one coaches? Although TCU was 5-7 last year, he did get handed the reins to a pretty solid program that Gary Patterson was leaving for him.
Yeah, I might see that, but I'll go with no. I don't think so. I think a lot of different programs have different situations going on, and different conferences. Is one conference more difficult to play in than another conference? I don't think it puts pressure on a guy like Matt Rule. I respect what Sonny Dykes did. I think it was really cool. I don't think a lot of people maybe saw it coming. When you're watching him at Cal a couple of jobs ago with him before he went to SMU, but no, I don't think it puts a lot of pressure on first year coaches, just because I think every job is different and everybody has to kind of like hurdle different adversities, and each place is unique. So I really like what TCU did. I really like Sonny as a coach, but no, I think Nebraska, Matt Rule should maybe take it at their own speed and not try to, obviously try to do what TCU did. Yes. But if it doesn't end up happening on the first season, that's all right too.
We're joined by Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska here, the rival site for the Huskers. And Steve, moving to Husker hoops, I want to kind of briefly talk about that Minnesota game on Saturday, because that felt like a game Nebraska was trailing at halftime, and they come out in the second half. They shoot pretty well from the field as well, and they really turned up the defensive intensity. Then you get hit with little adversity. They drill a 3 with a couple seconds left, and that felt like a game when it was in overtime. As a Husker fan, you had this, oh no, any Nebraska sport in overtime hasn't been faring well over the last couple years, and now you're also on the road to put that on top of everything. But this felt like a game that in years past, Nebraska wouldn't have been able to win. But here they are. They squeaked one out. They hit their free throws in the overtime period, and they ended up getting a road win on last Saturday against Minnesota. I mean, where's kind of your thought process on that, and feeling like this wasn't a game that they could have won? We haven't seen Nebraska teams squeak out in years past.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you, Nick. In years past, I think Nebraska would have folded in that extra period, but this time around, I think that Fred Hoiberg has built more of a team basketball team. Just everything's not really concentrated on one player like it has in the past. All 5 guys are usually doing really good things together and working together. And I think the teamwork aspect of this year's squad is a lot better than in years past with Hoiberg coach teams here at Nebraska. So I think the roster construction that Fred kind of came into the season with, guys like Juwan Gary, Emmanuel Bandamel, Sam Griesel, of course, just older veteran dudes who have been around before and have won some games in college basketball before, just getting together. I just don't think that these guys really fold or quit. I know there have been some bad losses this season, but there have also, in a lot of those losses, there have been glimmers of hope in the second half where they didn't totally, completely die off or shut down in the second half. Even if they would lose some of these games, there'd be, midway through the second half, you'd look up and like, oh, they're only down by 9 now, or they cut it to single digits. And it just wasn't like that before. So I just think that this team, this teamwork led crew that Fred has kind of constructed this season is doing wonders right now. And I think a lot of people are noticing. I think fans are enjoying it and noticing it. And, for them to go into Minneapolis, and again, the Gophers aren't really a great basketball team, but neither is Nebraska. So getting out of Minneapolis with a win in overtime after the Gophers tied it in the manner that they did, kind of a deflating moment there. But for them to kind of stand up and not quit and get out of there with the win, I think that kind of speaks volumes to this team's mindset and how they're really not going to quit, even though they might be down by a lot. They're not ever going to give up, and I think that's a really good thing for a Fred Hoiberg coach team.
Steve, it's interesting. You talk about like the construction of this roster, and I don't know about you, but it feels like year one of a college coach's tenure this season. Although we're somewhat early, I kind of feel like it feels like we're in year one and we're excited for the future.
Yeah. So an interesting thing was kind of happened on Monday and for the Hoiberg's press conference, and I think it kind of speaks to what you said, Nick. This is the first Nebraska basketball team under Fred Hoiberg where it kind of is like a bully ball team. They're not really relying on outscoring people. They're not really like trying to play fast. They're just kind of trying to play what they're the best way that their roster is managed, and that is slowing things down, getting in the half court, doing the little things that Nebraska maybe hasn't done in the past, like dive on the floor, scrape up the elbows, try to focus on winning the rebound battle. Just do the things that aren't really glamorous on a basketball court and kind of grind out wins. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. And I think it's like kind of like a first year team for a head coach, because when you think of Fred Hoiberg, you think of offense and scoring and up and down basketball. But this team, it's not. It's kind of like his first team, like you mentioned, where he could be called kind of like a bully ball coach right now, where he's focusing on defense and doing the little things that maybe aren't sexy in basketball terms, but they're kind of building something right now, and I think that's exactly what the Huskers needed.
We're joined by Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska with us here on the Happy Hour, and Steve, I guess one more kind of reverting back to that roster construction discussion. Like one thing that Nebraska's been able to avoid, and although it's somewhat still early, 16 games into the season, have been these long streaks of poor performances. You think back into recent years, and it's been filled with substantial losing streaks and longer losing streaks. And yes, Nebraska's, fallen to Kansas State, which that Kansas State loss, doesn't look so bad anymore. The Wildcats are 14-1 and jumped from unranked to 11th in the AP poll this week. But then you were able to bounce back and you beat Queens like you're supposed to, and you have a strong performance against Iowa. then you fall to Michigan State, but then you bounce back and you're able to win one on the road at Minnesota. I think that speaks, like you said, to that roster construction to where they haven't been able, they have leaders, especially in a guy like Derek Walker and Sam Griesel, that where they're able to avoid these long and substantial stretches of losses.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the big test. This is the big test right now because you got that win in Minnesota, and how are you going to respond? Is it going to be like, again, you get a big win against Creighton earlier this season, right? But then you lose to Indiana. You beat Queens, sure, and then you beat Iowa, and then you go to Michigan State. Fred Hoiberg said he absolutely loved the pregame atmosphere in East Lansing. He loved how his team warmed up, but then they lost 74-56. So you go to Minneapolis and you grind out a really good win over a bad team, but still a really good win on the road in the Big Ten, which doesn't happen that often. And now you are faced with an opportunity against a pretty good Illinois team. I know they come in with some conference losses under their belt, but I think they still have some really good players, and they're a tough team. So how are they going to react? How are they going to continue to try to build some momentum? Because right now is where tonight is where it starts. There's no other night. I mean, today is a really, really big opportunity for the Nebraska basketball team. If they could get a win, and PBA I think is going to be packed. It's going to be loud. It's going to be an absolutely great environment because it always is inside PBA. If they could find a way just to knock off Illinois, you are 3-1 in your last 4, I believe, and then you're on the road against a really good Purdue team again, a Purdue team that you only lost in overtime earlier this season. So I just think that today is going to be a really, really important moment in Fred Hoiberg's season and Nebraska's season here. If they could just find a way to get one out of here, they could build and stack some wins, to use a football term. And, things are going to start, I think, picking up here this season because I really like this team. I know that they've shown some good things, some bad things, but I think the way that they're playing, the way that they're winning, trying to just play defense and care about defense and do the little things, I think it's really kind of showing up, and I think fans are really appreciating it. So it all starts tonight. Tonight's a massive, massive game, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, you kind of mentioned to it and alluded to it. I mean, you travel to West Lafayette on Friday, then it's Ohio State at home next Wednesday, then on the road at Penn State, who is 11-5 this season, and then Northwestern, who's been decided to win games without Pete Nance, and you're kind of just, where does this leave Chris Collins, who seemed to be on the hot seat, but now is going to be farther, it feels like. So it feels like a huge stretch of games here, and like you said, a big opportunity for the Huskers tonight. Before we let you go, have you ever seen something like Kansas State? They put up 116 points in regulation against Texas. They win 116-103, and then they follow it up with a 97-point performance against Baylor, and they jump from unranked to ranked. They're unranked to 11th in the country. They're 14-1.
Too far.
And their only loss has been to Butler early on in the season. I mean, what was your thought when you saw that?
I mean, I was a little bit surprised. Sure, that was a really, really big jump. But look, I mean, we saw it firsthand when they played Nebraska. Kansas State's really good. Keontae Johnson is really good. They have some ballers, and Jerome Tang, his first year there, a longtime Baylor assistant, finally get his opportunity to be a head coach in the Big 12. He's showing that good coaching matters, and obviously he brought in Keontae Johnson as a transfer from Florida. But I think it's showing that first year head coaches, if you're a good coach, it's possible to do what Kansas State is doing. And I don't know, I'm having fun watching the Wildcats. It's a talented crew, and I'm wondering how far they're going to take this thing. But boy, yeah, I mean, back-to-back wins over Texas and Baylor, both on the road, and scoring 116 points and then 97 in overtime. Whew. I mean, that's impressive stuff. I'm going to be very, very interested to see how far Jerome Tang takes this thing.
Well, and people may forget that they lost Nigel Pack to the transfer portal, who was their freshman last year that averaged over 17 points per game. And he was lured away by John Ruiz at Miami, the big booster for the Hurricanes, with a 2-year, $800,000 NIL deal. He was brought to Miami, and Kansas State brings in Keontae Johnson, like you mentioned, and now He's having his best season of his career after a really scary situation at Florida that we all obviously know about since there was interest from Nebraska at one place or another. So, all right, Steve, appreciate the time as always. Good stuff. We will definitely talk to you next week, and we will see you tonight at PBA.
Absolutely. See you tonight, guys.
That is Steve Marik of Inside Nebraska. Appreciate his time as always. Big opportunity for the Huskers tonight as they host the Illinois Fighting Illini. They are without their 5-star freshman Sky Clark, who left the team a couple days ago due to personal reasons. And he was a guy that was average. He's played in 13 games for the Fighting Illini, averaged a little over 7 points. But Terrence Shannon is definitely the guy to look out for.
That's the guy that Emmanuel Bandamel is excited to guard.
Yes. One of the best that Nebraska will see all season long.
You know, Illinois has attempted about 900 shots.
Jeez.
400 have been threes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, it's going to be a big opportunity for Nebraska.
33% from three.
And that's where you look at this Illinois rosters. We have like 1 minute left in this segment here before we get to the crossover. You look at this Illinois roster or schedule, and there's wins against top 10 UCLA. There's wins against number 2 Texas, and number 14 Wisconsin. But like I mentioned, losses against Missouri, Northwestern.
Missouri's good.
Missouri is good. First-year head coach Dennis Gates as well. Yeah. Penn State, which we just talked about, is good.
Also good.
Maryland, Virginia. There's some questionable games where they should have potentially competed better.
Like, you take down 2 top 10 teams.
Yes.
You shouldn't lose to not top 25 teams.
A dominating win over Syracuse, 73-44. Nobody talks about Syracuse anymore.
Syracuse is bad.
Are they really? Is it really bad?
It honestly, this might be sacrilege of me to say, as I am a fan of Syracuse basketball.
Okay.
I think it might be time for Jim Boeheim to take a step down.
Oh no! So I want to look up men's basketball, just the record real quick.
They're not good.
This is
like they might have a winning record, but they're not good.
They are 10-6.
They are not good.
They lost to Colgate.
Yep. I watched that game. It was very hard to watch.
They lost to Colgate, lost to Illinois 73-44 as well.
That 2-3
so that's
zone
interesting.
Is a relic of the past.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to see. All right, when we come back, we will preview more Illinois, Nebraska. Also get Austin's thoughts on the national title game last night. All that and more as we round out Tuesday's show on the Happy Hour.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Sponsored by SAMHSA and Nebraska DHHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red.
Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scottsbluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our homes are the perfect retirement choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
There's a lot of realtors in Lincoln, but don't get overwhelmed by all the names. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realtor Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate is your go-to option when buying or selling residential and commercial property. Ben's team offers unbeatable customer service and promises to make the buying and selling process as stress-free as possible. Call Ben today at 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador. No pressure.
I wanted to quit for so long, but I didn't know where to start.
I was afraid of what people would think, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey. 1 in 14 Americans reports experiencing a substance use disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options to explore and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible.
Paid for by the CDC. Sponsored by Nebraska DHS. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
The Empire brand is growing. ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting. ESC is your place for custom handrails, industrial and commercial painting, and more. ESC provides custom welding for aluminum steel and media blasting of all sorts. ESC is great attention to detail. They stick to deadlines and keep within your budget. If you can dream it, they can make it. Contact ESC Fabrication and Sandblasting in Waverly today. 312079.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never was pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my second daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
I think it's just vapor.
Vaping is safer than smoking, isn't it?
There's really not even that much nicotine in them, right?
One vape pod has as much nicotine as one pack of cigarettes.
My kid
knows it's dangerous.
5.4 million American kids vape, and most think it's harmless. Get your head out of the cloud. Talk to your kid about vaping. Visit talkaboutvaping.org. That's talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk, the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNT KFM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary. Presented by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back here one final time on the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick, Rico, and Austin joining us for the crossover. Austin, what's up, man?
You know, just basking in the glow of telling everyone Georgia when they were at their best was the best team in the country.
You know what?
Both
of you shut your mouths.
We both did you? I can't remember. Did you call a blowout or did you just call a Georgia win?
The score prediction I gave Friday. We didn't give scores yesterday. I said 37-33.
Okay.
But I was saying, you know, if Georgia gets it turned on,
Yeah.
no one can play with them. They're the best team in the country.
Georgia did to TCU what I thought Georgia would do to Ohio State.
But see, you sleep on
I
Ohio
had it
State.
I had it backwards.
You sleep on
You
Ohio
did.
State, Rico.
Well, this whole thing was backwards. Usually it's blowout semis, close
Bingo.
natty.
Bingo.
But now, best semis of the entire college football playoff era.
Without
a doubt.
I think I would rather have blowouts in the semis because there's 2 games. At least you get double the football.
Maybe.
The natty's the end. I want something I can hang on to for the rest of for all of the offseason. Like, man, that was such a great game. That was so amazing. Like that's what a championship game should be. It should be the best game that you saw all year.
Just go back and watch Nebraska Iowa a few times.
That'd be a great idea.
That's how I get through the offseason.
This is a good one.
Go back, watch Nebraska Iowa or
Nebraska Indiana.
Nebraska Indiana.
I'm just gonna watch the Tulane.
Nebraska North Dakota.
I'm just gonna watch Tulane.
Oh gosh, Nebraska North Dakota. I forgot.
Tulane's top 10.
That's just too
Finally,
bad. Yeah,
people.
Tulane's top 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so ESPN put out their way too early poll for next season. Do you guys see who number 4 is?
No.
Wait. Let me go through it.
Okay.
I think.
Florida
State.
Yes.
Yep.
Florida State
Mm-hmm.
is number 4 in the way now. Way too early polls are dumb.
Who is it? Was it Georgia?
Bama, Ohio
Georgia,
State.
Bama. No, I think it was Georgia, Ohio State, Bama.
No, Michigan. Michigan 5.
I wouldn't want them top 5 before I knew Harbaugh was coming back.
Well, you got Blake
Yeah, but
Corum
this is
back
the way.
now.
This is the way too early. You know nothing. That's the point.
I guess.
Okay, so here's the way. Here it is.
Heck,
Way too early.
Florida State could lose like 10 players. In
Yeah,
the next 2 weeks.
Way too early college football top 25. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan number 3. Florida State number 4, Bama number 5.
Just more fuel to the Nick Saban fire. David Pollock lit it.
Here's the deal. You
guys hear David Pollock?
Yes. But never forget when 2 years ago when Florida State lost Travis Hunter to Jackson State. And you know this, Rico.
Yep.
I was listening to a Twitter space that entire day where it was people couldn't talk unless they started out their thought or their take with fire Mike Norvell. The people that were running it was like the 24/7 sports
I don't
FSU.
think it was like the actual 24/7.
I hope not.
They can't do that.
Either way,
they would know better than to do
either
that.
way, it was fire Mike Norvell, and then you could talk, then you could speak freely. But you had to say fire Mike Norvell.
I've been in a couple Knicks spaces like that.
It was
that fire Tibbs.
Yeah. Well, New York Knicks.
Or trade Julius Randle.
Or the Oklahoma Twitter spaces.
Oh, that one was
those
fun.
are electric.
When Lincoln Riley left, joined one.
Those were electric.
Okay.
Yeah, no, those get circulated every now and then.
If something crazy happens with a bigger college football or college basketball team, go to Twitter, find the space. There's gonna be one, and just listen.
I've never joined a space. Am I missing out?
They're pretty fun.
If
certain ones.
Now that's the thing. If
they're serious, then I don't know. I've never been in a serious.
I've never been in a serious one. It's the only 2 that I've ever joined. Never talked in one.
Nope.
Only 2 that I've ever joined were the Florida State fire Mike Norvell on signing day, or it was the Oklahoma. Everybody hates Lincoln Riley, and we hope Lincoln Riley Highway or whatever gets renamed.
Bleep Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Might have been what you had to say.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it was pretty. It's pretty intense in those Twitter spaces for a lot of people. So Florida State though, number 4, and it says it's taken longer than Florida State hoped, but the Seminoles have finally turned the corner and might be a legitimate ACC title and CFP contender.
I feel like they have to deal with Miami.
It doesn't feel like the Seminoles though won 10 games this.
Miami,
are you sure?
Miami, not the greatest season, great recruiting class, and they're getting their quarterback back.
I still trust Clemson more than anyone. In
I would as well, and for the same
Clemson,
reason,
obviously number 1. But I'm just saying, out of the Florida ACC schools,
in that division, sure.
What if I told you? What if I told you Miami is not even ranked and they way too early top 25? Iowa comes in number 25. Iowa comes in at 25th because Cade McNamara.
Yep. And whatever.
Eric All.
I always forget his first name. I don't know. It's so simple.
Eric All. And they also got the Iowa Western defensive tackle Ontario Thompson that visited Nebraska a couple times.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Where's Colorado?
Let's see. James Madison comes in at 24.
Dukes.
Ooh, look at James Madison.
North Carolina 21, Ole Miss 20, Tulane 19.
What is North Carolina without Phil Longo?
Yes.
I honestly don't know. They also lost their that former 5-star defensive back Tony Grimes.
Mm-hmm.
They also lost him.
But They have Mac Brown.
Drake May returns.
And they always have an extra second.
And his magical 1 second.
Drake May returns.
Yep.
So who knows what's going to happen there? They were 9-5 this year. Yikes. Ole Miss, Tulane, K-State, Oregon State, a 10-win Beaver squad.
DJU.
Yep, DJ Uyunglele, Jonathan Smith.
Too bad he's not good.
He shouldn't be missing the best receiver in Oregon State history, though.
Tyjon
Lindsey. Maybe they will. What's it called? DJ Uyunglele will maybe get his Dr. Pepper deal back
from orange to orange.
Yeah. Actually, under here it says Oregon State's key losses. Tyjon Lindsey. That's kind of funny.
Good.
That's funny.
He was really
awesome.
good.
16th is Texas.
Tyjon Lindsey, same recruiting class as Stetson Bennett.
You're right.
Yeah.
Clemson is 15th. Notre Dame is 14th. Utah with Cam Rising coming back.
That's
13th.
Like, okay, I get it. You lost back-to-back Rose Bowls because you got hurt. Go to the NFL, dude. You're going to be 25, but you're not Stetson Bennett.
Better NFL quarterback, Will Levis or Cam Rising?
Cam Rising.
Oh, Will Levis or Cam Rising?
Because Cam Rising is going to switch to tight end.
Okay. Taysom Hill 2.0.
Will Levis? Will Levis, I suppose.
This dude's hard-headed.
He is.
Like, is Will Levis going? Is there a spot that Will Levis fits better than not?
Will Levis is going to be a top 10 pick, and it will be one of the worst top 10 picks that.
Because that's what's crazy.
Not Indy. That's all I care. I saw him mocked there when they were 7th.
Yep.
Please no.
You the guy that needs his banana side of his peel on?
No.
What about
you? Don't want mayonnaise in your coffee?
No, I do not. Nope, none of that.
All right, so Cam Rising. Okay, so then number 12 TCU, number 11 Washington, number 10 Tennessee, Oregon is number 9, 8 is LSU, USC is 7.
Alex Grinch back.
Is he for sure?
Yeah, Riley announced that this morning.
Wow,
bold move.
That is a bold move.
He's a good defensive
coordinator.
coordinator.
They lose Jordan Addison though.
They got a lot of turnovers.
Yeah,
I suppose so.
A lot of points, got a lot of turnovers.
But then here's this.
Shout out to UCF in 2017.
Get this, guys. 3 of the Big Ten, 3 of the top 6 teams, Big Ten East teams. Number 6 is Penn State.
Is there
Too
a
low.
Big Ten West
Too
team?
low. Interesting.
Is there a Big Ten West team before Iowa?
No,
just Iowa.
Just Iowa. Iowa is the lone Big Ten West. They didn't put quarterback U, also known as Wisconsin, in there. QBU, as they just got a 4th quarterback today. But no, Penn State. It's officially no more Sean Clifford. Drew Aller is the next man up. Sean Clifford is done.
13 years.
Yeah, it feels like it. So, all right, we got about a minute left here. Illinois, Nebraska tonight. Illinois, last time I checked, is a 3.5-point favorite on the road.
I brought up a stat. Nebraska 6-1 at home this year.
There it is.
2-3 on the road, 1-3 at neutral sites. They're protecting the vault.
The vault, baby.
Yep.
They're gonna do it again.
They're gonna do it again. Move to 7-1 at the vault. Rico says.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Sipple also this morning said that Nebraska was going to win by 7. So he said 71-64
by a touchdown.
We'll see if that comes to fruition or not.
We've got him this afternoon. So we'll see if he changes his prediction from this morning.
Perfect. Yeah. So you can check out Sipple and then obviously Austin and Strick on the block coming up from 2 to 4. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us. We'll be back tomorrow to break down more Husker football transfer portal stuff. Micah Mazuka announces tonight at 7 p.m. So we'll be breaking down whatever decision he makes and more coming up tomorrow. We'll talk to you guys later.
Adios.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them?
By their clothes.